So today we're diving into a really fundamental shift in cybersecurity. And I'm not just talking about an upgrade to some old malware. No, this is a whole new class of threat, one that's powered by artificial intelligence. And it is seriously poised to change everything we thought we knew about digital security. Let's get into what this means for all of us.
I want you to just start with this one question. Really let it sink in, because it is the key to understanding this whole new threat. What happens when the malware attacking our systems isn't just some pre-written program, but an autonomous agent? Something that can plan, adapt, and decide on its own how to hurt you the most?
Now, to really grasp how big of a leap this is, we've got to look back at how we even got here. You know, ransomware has a history, and its evolution tells a really interesting story of ever-increasing sophistication.
It all started way back with what we now call version 1.0, pretty simple encryption attacks. Then came 2.0, the era of double extortion. This is where criminals didn't just lock up your files, they stole them too, threatening to release everything publicly. This was also when ransomware as a service popped up, making it super easy for pretty much anyone to launch an attack. But now we are entering a completely new phase, ransomware 3.0, where large language models, the same tech behind things like ChatGPT, are the ones calling all the shots.
And this is where you can see the difference is, well, it's night and day. Traditional attacks, they used fixed code, a static attack pattern, and they needed a human operator pulling the strings. Ransomware 3.0 is a totally different beast. It can start from just simple, natural language prompts. It dynamically writes its own code on the fly, and it operates completely on its own. And instead of some one-size-fits-all ransom note, it personalizes the extortion. This makes it polymorphic. It's constantly changing its own signature, which makes it almost invisible to traditional antivirus tools. So here's the bottom line. Ransomware 3.0 is a threat that uses AI to run the entire attack from start to finish. Once it's launched, the human attacker can literally just walk away. The AI takes over. It figures out the system, it finds the valuables, and it decides on the absolute best way to extort the victim.
Okay, so how does this actually work, right? What does an autonomous attack really look like from the inside? Let's break down the process.
The whole thing unfolds in 4 distinct stages. First, you've got reconnaissance, where it's mapping out your system. Second is exploitation, where it finds all your secrets. Third, activation. This is where it chooses its weapon. And finally, notification, where it makes its demands in the most coercive way possible. So, let's start at the top with reconnaissance.
In stage 1, the AI is basically a scout. It asks the LLM to generate code to figure out everything about the machine it's landed on. What's the operating system? Who's the user? What's the file structure like? It creates a complete, detailed map of the digital territory it's just invaded, all to prepare for the next step.
So now that it has a map, the hunt begins. It feeds that whole file list back to the large language model and essentially asks, okay, what's the good stuff here? And the LLM is incredibly, shockingly effective at this. It can spot file names that scream sensitive content, things like tax documents, password lists, private keys, or confidential HR files. It then pulls out key pieces of this data to use as leverage later on.
Now this is where it gets really smart. In stage 3, the AI makes a strategic decision. It analyzes the system, looks at the data it found, and then it chooses the most effective weapon for the job. If it's on your personal computer, maybe it'll just steal the files to violate your privacy. But on a corporate server with mission-critical data, it'll encrypt them for a huge payout. And if it finds itself in a critical system, like an industrial controller, it might just choose to destroy everything.
And the final stage, well, this is straight-up psychological warfare. The LLM crafts a custom ransom note. It doesn't just say, your files are encrypted. Nope. It might say something like, hello, Jane. We have encrypted your files, including the one you named Family SSN List, and your iCloud password export. By using the victim's name and referencing specific sensitive files, it creates immense pressure and makes the threat feel terrifyingly real. This huge technological leap hasn't just created a smarter attacker, it has completely changed the economics. The entire business model of cybercrime is being turned on its head as we speak. Just think about it. What would it cost to hire a team of elite hackers for a personalized attack? Thousands? Hundreds of thousands of dollars? Well, get this. Researchers estimate that the cost to run one of these complete end-to-end autonomous attacks using public AI models is just 70 cents. Yeah, you heard that right. Less than $1 to deploy a highly sophisticated personalized weapon. And because it's autonomous, the potential for scale is just
It's mind-boggling. A single person can now launch thousands of unique, personalized attacks all at the same time. The manual effort that used to limit cybercriminals is just gone.
Now, let's contrast that 70-cent cost of attack with the average ransom that organizations are paying, which is now over $2 million. The return on investment for criminals is, well, it's astronomical. The incentive to use these tools is absolutely massive.
So what's the takeaway here? The barrier to entry for high-level cybercrime has all but vanished. You don't need a skilled team anymore. You don't need to develop custom malware or have complex infrastructure. All you need is access to an LLM and a single server.
All right, so the threat is real, it's dirt cheap, and it scales like crazy. The big question is, how in the world do we defend against malware that can think? It means we have to completely rethink our approach to security.
We have to start with some foundational principles. First, the zero trust model is absolutely essential. You have to assume your network is already compromised and verify everything, always. Next, the principle of least privilege. If an app doesn't need access to a file, it shouldn't have it, period. This limits what the AI can even see. And of course, multi-factor authentication everywhere. It's a critical layer that makes that initial breach so much harder.
Then you've got the practical, hands-on tactics. Network segmentation is crucial. It's like putting up firewalls inside your network. It contains a breach to one small area so the AI can't go exploring your entire system. Robust backups are your ultimate safety net. You've got to follow the 3-2-1 rule. 3 copies of your data on 2 different kinds of media with at least 1 copy stored completely off-site. And finally, encrypting your most sensitive data makes it totally useless to an attacker, even if they manage to get their hands on it.
And that brings us to the final critical question. We are absolutely entering an age where AI is being weaponized. So the path forward probably isn't about blocking AI, but about fighting fire with fire. The future of cybersecurity might just be a battle of dueling AIs, one attacking and one defending. The real question is, can we build our defender fast enough?